Hey guys, Mauzy here from Platinum Heroes, and look what we got here. The Starcraft 2 PTR 5.0.13 balance patch. And this is great news. Today is March 7th, and we've been clamoring for this for some time, maybe a couple weeks as Katowice came to a close. So I'm really happy that we got this, and I'm really happy that I can be here and just make some more content as well. Now, couple disclosures. I am not a pro player. I am not part of the Balance Council, and I am just here to represent the Diamond community, probably below. Give my thoughts as how it would impact the super casual community, the ones that will probably not go pro, or at least not for the foreseeable future. Not on this patch, I believe, unless somebody's like a very natural talent or something along those lines. So yeah, let's just enjoy reading through the patch notes. You can read with me, you can just listen to it, and as always, I appreciate your presence. Thank you very much for being here, and consider subscribing if you are enjoying the content. Now let's get into it. In Doom, we are happy to push 5.0.13 to PTR, which is the public test roam, which features a variety of map pool updates and balance. We would like to thank our partners at ESL, Balance Community Council, and Community Mapmakers for all your contributions that went into 5.0.13. Now, if you don't know, if you go into the Battle.net launcher and you go on the Starcraft page, and where it says above the play button, it says game version, and if you click on that thing where it says Starcraft 2, you can select the public test realm, the PTR, install it, and then you can play custom games, you can play ladder if you find a match, of course, and you can test out the new changes by yourself as well. All right, we're gonna stick to the 1v1 map pool. There's gonna be 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. I've read through the patch real quick, and yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, we're gonna focus on the 1v1 map pool. So we stuck with Alcyone, Golden Aura, Side Delta, and Oceanborn, but we got 5 new maps, so we still have the 9 maps in the map pool, as in the previous previous map pool, or previous season, or update, or balance update, something along those lines. So the new one is going to be Golden Aura, Side Delta, Oceanborn, Alcyone. Post Youth is one of the new ones. Amphion, I think we casted one of the 4Jumi versus Han Mono games. Were on that one. Crimson Court, Dynasty, and Ghost River. Ghost River, I remember being probably, I think it was the first map. So yeah, if you're interested in that, by the way, and even more content, go check out the mauzycasts channel. It's going to be in the description, where I also do like Starcraft 2 casting, as the name suggests. I'm not going to go into the team game side, as I said. Now, balance update. Let's see. General. Worker attack range increased from 0.1 to 0.2. I am not really going to comment on this one because I am not that much into worker micro or like worker pools and stuff like that. We'll see how this is going to impact the games. Don't think I have too much of a knowledge on this one, so I don't want to say anything stupid. Rather, I shut my mouth and just, yeah, do my thing. Now, the worker inner radius, which is the collision with the terrain and structures, has been reduced. Well, it looks just a slight reduction, but we'll see. So this means it's gonna fit through, just like in the GIF below. We can see that it's going to fit through a couple like tighter corridors and whatnot, and maybe that's gonna mean that it's gonna squeeze through some places where like a Reaper or something cannot chase through. Now, reduced footprint size of Vespene geysers. I am not sure what this means. We'll find out, I suppose, later. Now, Zerg rocks, which means I'm not sure which map it was, but in that particular series that I mentioned, Han Mono versus 4Jumi, we had Zerg spawning pools as walls, which collapsed because they lost all their HP at minute 4 and 25 seconds in game time, basically. So that's basically what this is. So you don't have to kill them, they will lose time, lose HP over time, which is kind of a cool mechanic in my opinion. So we'll see how that's going to play out. Mineral fields now all have 500 HP and can be killed by collapsible rock towers. So I suppose this means they cannot be killed by anything else. That would be kind of interesting if they could be killed. Like, you would go out to harass literally the mineral line, or the mineral patches, sorry. You would go out and harass the mineral patches, but maybe you can have some cool plays with some cooling towers, and you can deny some minerals from your opponent. I can see some niche cases where that could be an impact in the late game, for example, when there's no more minerals. But yeah, let's get into the actual changes. So for the Terran, the Liberator, advanced ballistics has been nerfed, so the range bonus is going to be reduced from 3 to 2. Now the next one is going to be the big one. Obviously, I think Liberators were a bit annoying in the late game, at least from the Zerg perspective. At least from my Diamond perspective, it was kind of hard to get to them without Corruptors. But obviously you should have Vipers or Corruptors with like Corruptors self-explanatory, or Vipers with Parasitic Bomb to actually deal with them. So yeah, or Queens if you're getting attacked, but it could be quite annoying. So for the Widowmine, this is a big one. So the invisibility while reloading, which means that when they stay cloaked after they fired, in other words, requires Drilling Claws. If I'm not mistaken, this was at some point a requirement. So it's no longer enough to have just an armory. You need the Drilling Claws upgrade as well. So I'm kind of hyped to see that. We'll see how it's going to play out. Splash damage radius has been nerfed from 1.75 to 1.5. Bit of a smaller radius, so that's good. It's not going to kill like that many workers during the Widowmine drop. Maybe if you can split in time, it's going to reduce the damage taken, so it's going to make Widowmines a bit less obnoxious. Obviously, if units like Zerglings are clumped up, I believe it's going to be still not as devastating, but it could be a lot more devastating. Maybe we'll see Terrans go back into tanks more. Now the Widowmines have been kind of nerfed. I'm not sure if this is like nerfing to the ground or not. We'll see. And now gives an attack alert to the enemy. So when burrowing, not when it fired already and you lost all your mineral line, but when it's burrowing. So it's going to be quite okay, I believe, because you'll have time to react before it fires. You don't have to like pay attention constantly. Now that combined with the medevac minimap icon size standardization that we had the previous patch, so overlords, prisms, and medevacs have the same size, the same little dot on the map, or same size dot on the map. I think that would make life of Protoss players a bit better, quite significantly better. And also something that we clamored for, what's the word? Whatever. So something that we've been craving for. I think that's what I was trying to say. Climate, I don't know. Whatever. So increased visibility of targeting line and targeted units. So as we can see here on the graphic, so over here we can see that it's going to be quite visible. Now this is going to be meaningful for, I believe, smaller skirmishes. It's going to be like a full-on late game fight and you're just going to be like, yeah, just F it, let's go. Then it's not going to matter that much. I mean, you'll see which unit is getting targeted, but probably you'll have more like higher priorities to actually deal with it, or then dealing with it. But yeah, let's move on. So the armory cost, Vesping gas cost has been reduced to half, from 100 to 50. I guess that's a bit better, but might be a pseudo buff. I mean, it's gonna be a bit better in my opinion, because obviously you don't have to spend that much gas, but probably you would have like 4 gases by the time you get the armory. So we'll see how that plays out, if this is like the 25 mirrors off the ultras cost. Anyways, engineering bay. Okay, infantry weapons and armor upgrades cost reduced from 100, 175 to 50 to 100, 150 and 200. So this is actually quite big. So tier 2 and tier 3 +2 +3 are going to be less expensive. You're gonna be cheaper, so that's a slight buff to the bio. Maybe in tight situations when you don't have the money for it. Obviously pro players are super tight, so let's count that into let's take that into consideration. Pro players are obviously super tight on their macro and everything, so it will mean quite a lot for them, in my opinion, at least. Or maybe at least tier 3, or when you're struggling and you would need to get it, it's gonna feel a bit better, or you won't feel that bad about getting it and sacrificing, like, I don't know, 4 marines or like ghosts and whatnot. So we'll see how this plays out, but I think if I'm honest, unless the Terran is super far behind at my level, it's gonna float enough to actually get +3/+3. So sorry guys, this is the reality. We float quite a lot in the late game, okay? Sometimes not even the late game. 5 minutes in, we float 1,000 minerals. Happens, okay? We need to acknowledge the fact. All right, Cyclone, and this is gonna be a big one. So remember, the Cyclone got a rework, no cooldown on the lock-on and whatnot. Now we're gonna have a 2.86 on the lock-on as a cooldown, almost 3 seconds, which is quite nice. You cannot lock on instantly, so I really hope this is going to stick to it. And by the way, we need to acknowledge something here. Everything that we talked about so far, and we're going to talk about, I think, unless it's like a bug fix or a quality of life update, that it's like at the miscellaneous part down there. I think we need to acknowledge the fact that these changes might not get into the live game, okay? These are on the PTR. Nothing here is set in stone. These are subject to change. They could add or remove stuff. They could change the parameters, you know, the numbers. So keep that in mind, okay? Don't get angry and don't go on Reddit, please. Don't flame the balance council for ruining your experience on the ladder and whatnot, because these are not final changes. Go test them out. Don't go on it, read like half of the line and just be like, oh, everything is super nerfed, this or that race is going to be like so broken, or that race is never gonna win a single tournament, because it's not going to be like that. So yeah, the weapon cooldown is gonna be increased from 0.48 to 0.58. That means it's gonna shoot slower. The damage bonus per weapon upgrade is gonna be doubled from 1 to 2 to compensate, I guess, for the lock-on, because lock-on now uses auto attack, so it's quite important to note that. The weapon now has turn tracking, turns faster, and remove the damage point. I'm not sure about the remove damage point, so if somebody knows in the comments, please let me know what this line means, because it was kind of confusing to me. And then we have the health increased from 110 to 130, so it's gonna be a tad bit tankier. Gonna take 1 more shot. Then we have the Raven interference matrix that can no longer target units already affected by it, or the Raven cannot target with interference matrix rather. So that might just give a bit of a room to micro before the second projectile reaches. So I suppose it has to run out, like finish casting and whatnot, and then you can cast it again. So we'll see if that is going to be the case or not. All right, let's move on to the Zerg ones. So we have creep start radius increased from 12 to 13, so it's going to spread a bit more creep when the hatchery the lair and the hive finish. Well, obviously the hatchery, but it stays true even when it turns into a lair or a hive. It's not like it's gonna like pull the creep back, you know, when it morphs into a lair or hive. Hold on a second. Charlie! Sorry guys, had to handle my cat Charlie. He's a bit of an annoying boy. Okay, Infestor. They reverted the change with the fungal growth range, but they didn't revert the energy cost. Sorry, the energy thing with the Infestor and the damage. So I'm curious to see if this is going to be broken or not. But there was a lot of complaints that the Infestor has not enough range on the fungal growth. So I guess we can see that. My Infestors die anyway, so I don't control them separately, but for pro players it's gonna matter a lot, I think. Now the vision range while burrowed has been reduced from 10 to 8, so it loses 2 vision. And there's also something here that the burrowed Infestor is now more visible while moving, so that's gonna make it less obnoxious to deal with it when they go for neural. It's not gonna be as effective as it was as a spotter. I think it's still gonna be super effective as a spotter, so we'll see about that. And some quality of life, I guess the unburrowed time has been increased from 0.5 from 0.36 0.71. That's an interval, that's like the random delay. It says in the bracket down there, and that has been increased. It's gonna unburrow a tad bit, like 0.2 seconds or 0.18 second slower or later, but it's gonna reduce the randomness in it. So I don't think it's gonna affect me. I'm not sure if it's gonna affect the pro players or not. We'll see. Overlord. Now this is an interesting one when I first read through it. So it says the transport overlord morph time has been increased from 12.14 seconds to 15 seconds, but the move speed has been increased from 1.10 to 1.28, or 2.83 to 300 with the Pneumondized Carapace, which is the overlord speed. So the first thing that comes to mind is Link Drop, and potentially the somewhat popular Hydra Drop, and maybe like the German Taxi, I guess, because that's also like a kind of a timing attack if we think about it. And I've been thinking maybe it's a nerf, but then I've been thinking about it. I think this needs testing, but the speed increase could make up for the extra delay, those almost 3 seconds of extra delay. So I'm quite curious to see if that's going to change some of those timings, because obviously like 2 to 3 seconds are excusable in Diamond or even Masters, maybe even in GM. At the pro level, at the highest, the top of the top, you don't get away with it. So you need to hit very, very sharp with a very sharp timing. So yeah, it's gonna matter there. But yeah, those are the Zerg changes. So let's move on to the Protoss ones. These are not that significant in my opinion, and I'm kind of afraid that it's not gonna say Protoss. I can already see the Reddit threads, honestly. I'm sorry, Reddit Starcraft community, but it's just obnoxious to go on Reddit, honestly. Anyways, so Observer. Sorry, this is a meme, you'll understand. Let's start with the bottom one. Model size increased by 10% and surveillance mode animation speed increased by 75%. So they basically, I wear glasses, and I left my glasses on intentionally for this one, so I prepped for this joke. So basically, if you didn't see it by now, even with glasses, even by zooming out, changing the visibility, they'll make sure that the observer is going to be visible while cloaked. You'll see the edges and everything, and I think by surveillance mode animation speed, they mean that I believe it's a pulsating animation, something like that. Trying to imagine it in my head. I think it's pulsating on the bottom side or something like that, so I guess that's going to be faster. But now it builds faster and it's a bit more tankier, so it's going to require less robo time. I think PvT is going to be the most impacted by this change, but we'll see. Sentry hasn't been touched. Okay, it has been touched, not drastically, but it has been touched. So we got a bit of a buff on the Sentry for Guardian Shield. Lasts like, I think, was 2 seconds, 3 seconds longer. Now the damage has been increased from 6 to 6 plus 4 versus shield, so it's gonna deal 10 damage to Protoss units basically. I'm not sure what the thought behind that is, but I guess it's okay because maybe it's gonna make it so it's easier to defend versus like Stalkers with Stalker Sentry Opener. Definitely PvP thing. So yeah, and the Sentry was light, mechanical, and psionic, and now the light attribute tag has been removed, so it's only psionic and mechanical. So I'm quite curious how that is going to come into play. I'm now, from the top of my head, I don't actually think about any sort of damage that would highly impact everything. No, I cannot actually get anything from the top of my head. But once again, if you feel like it, leave something down in the comments. What do you think about these? And finally, the pylon sight range has been increased from 9 to 10, and I'm curious if this is going to help enough to fix the PvT matchup, because drops are also kind of obnoxious as well. So yeah, we'll see if that helps. I kind of like this change, honestly. Now, yeah, for bug fixes and quality of life updates, we have a couple ones. I'm trying to remember which ones are basically... Oh yeah, activating generate creep on overlords now activates for all selected overlord types. Oh, fix that issue where banelings could deal additional damage on the ramps. Uthermal put out a short that featured this bug exactly. They work fast, guys. Just so you know. And he kind of hinted, now that I think about it, he kind of hinted that use it while it's there. Uthermal already knew that something is up. The balance council is working. Anyways, one that could impact the pro players, the lurker subgroup priority increased. Now it's higher priority than the Ravagers, so it's gonna get selected before the Ravagers, so you need to tab if you want to use bios, and if you don't have your lurkers on separate control groups. What else? Oh yeah, there's this thing, various issues with recall. So no longer includes units already being recalled, so you cannot double recall them. And all recalled abilities now cancel Adept Psionic Transfer and Disruptor Purification Nova. I'm not sure which one, but one of them did not cancel one or the other. And by the way, shout out to Omniskeptic for pointing out these things and basically just making two very cool videos. I'll leave them in the description. He actually pointed out the fix and then the issue, like how it should look like, but how it looks like. So it's kind of like a reverse thing. So it's nice, in my opinion. Oh, feedback can no longer hit units with no energy. so you cannot cast it on units that have no energy. The Tempest Tectonic Destabilizer upgrades now also applies to attacks targeting flying buildings, so I don't know why this wasn't a thing, but yeah, I guess it's fixed. Guardian Shield now applies to units on different cliff than the sentry cliff level, so if the sentry was on high ground or low ground, then the unit was not affected if it was on the high ground or the low ground, like on the opposite side. That feels kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Now, another quality of life update is the Vespene Geysers updating visually when depleted. I guess this is true for the super late game, where you need to like squeeze out the last bit of gas. And basically some models of the Vespene Geysers were not obvious if they are depleted in the fog of war, so that's something. Okay, rock appearances on the minimap, healing shrines. I'm trying to figure out if, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, once again, there's a lot of cool changes. Go check it out, go play some games on the PTR, and find someone, find a friend, find someone random from the Starcraft community around your level, and just play. Give your feedback. Please give your feedback after you actually played, like make concrete notes after you actually played a couple of games. Don't go flame the Balance Council. Don't be mad at them. Trust me, they are trying to do what's best for everybody, even though you don't think so. And remember, if you're not at the pro level, then probably, or at least Grandmaster, then probably it's not the game that's imbalanced. But, and you know the rest. I'm not gonna take that away from the captain. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed it, consider checking out my Twitch. I stream 2 times a week. Check out my casting channel, or check out some other content here on the Mauzy TV channel. And as always, stay tuned, and I hope you'll have a very good time, and happy Starcrafting. Cheers.
Keep it